Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Monday Night Clears. I am your host, Small Nixie, and I am with my good buddy, Satoru.
Satoru, yes.
There he is.
I'm here, obviously, once again for Monday Night Clears.
He has never missed an episode, which is pretty spicy. We're really appreciating his dedication. As you can see, we've changed up the format a little bit, and we now just have a set of pictures that are going through on a playlist, and it's a little bit less effort than what we were doing previously, and I'm sorry. And we will we'll find a middle ground and try to make something that is both nice to look at and doesn't take a million hours of work for this. But like the problem is doing something like a edited podcast where like with the footage that we were using previously on a weekly thing, it was taking quite a lot of work, whereas this, I just kind of yeet it.
It makes things a little bit easier.
Yeah, and the file size is so much better. I may actually just be able to hit like upload the moment this is done, and the episode will be done without any like real work, which is beautiful. Unfortunately, Emma isn't here this week, which is, kind of sad. She said
Yeah,
she
it
wasn't really
is.
feeling up to it, but
She'll be back in the future, though.
of course, and we'll get more guests. I know we haven't had a new guest in a little bit, but the guest for last week was being a butt. The guest for this week was meant to be Seth, but he had prior engagements, and we kind of just couldn't find the time.
Yeah, so hopefully next week, though.
Hopefully someone comes on
Hopefully.
next week.
Yes.
Also, as you can probably tell from some of the images of that you're seeing on your screen as we speak, not this one, this is me inside of a house sitting on a roof. Some of the images are of me as a very small looking Nixie, which, I'm back to my native self. And how do you feel about that? Because I know that you liked Big Nixie quite a lot.
I did like Big Nixie a lot. It was actually because obviously ever since I've known you, you've always been Small Nixie, Lalafell Nixie, and I'd always kind of hoped you'd maybe change for a little bit because, like, I'm not that keen on Lalafells, but the time you were Big Nixie was great,
Mm-hmm.
but it felt kind of good to see you small again. It felt like you were you.
It's weird because obviously I was Small Nixie for like 3.5 years or something. So
Yeah.
becoming Big Nixie was like really weird for me. And like being Small Nixie again, it just feels like I'm going back to how I belong. I'll probably go back to Big Nixie at some point, but there is
Yeah.
something
Okay.
about seeing Small Nixie that is just like in every screenshot that goes by on Small Nixie on the screen, I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I don't know, it feels good to have a character that actually feels a lot more like Nixie is
You.
like personal, you know?
Yeah. I get that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, will I miss Big Nixie a little bit?
I mean, me too,
But
a little bit.
at the same time, it's kind of like, as I said, it's you being Lalafell Nixie. Like, although I'm not keen on Lalafell, so I'm chill with it.
Yeah, Nixie is like pretty chill. Big Nixie
Yeah.
will probably come back in the future. Like maybe once every maybe for like half of every year I will be Big Nixie and half of every year I'll be Small Nixie. I don't
Oh,
know yet.
okay.
Haven't really thought about it. It feels nice to be able to wear giant suits of armor. Like on Lalafell, my Dragoon gear looks so stupid.
I mean,
But
it doesn't look that bad. Well, actually, I
The
don't know.
white armor that I have with the little white spear,
Uh,
it looks nice, but it's also like you look at it and you're like, I don't know. But Big Nixie wearing it was like, ooh, yes.
yeah, I don't know if actually I've seen Small Nixie wear it.
I try to avoid it.
Okay.
It still looks nice, but it looks less nice. That was like the one thing about Big Nixie that was great is that any outfit, well, almost every outfit you put on her, it was like, oh, look at that Big Nixie.
You're all legs.
Yeah, I am all legs and like nothing looks bad. Like I've got some pictures of like me in my Genji fending outfit, and it's like, ooh, like
Yeah.
it's it's pretty chunky. If I wore that on Small Nixie, I'd be like, what's that? What is that small can of beans doing out here on the battlefield? Like I'm really not sure about it.
It
But
it'll be
yeah,
interesting when we go into raid next, and
the people that haven't seen me see me.
that and the fact that we need to watch where our paladin is, except for our paladin is like 2 foot tall.
I mean, I'm in front of the boss mostly.
Yeah, but like, see being like partnered with like Eshor,
Yeah.
who's obviously a Lalafell. Sometimes I'm kind of like, where's my partner? Why can't I see Eshor? Because he is so small. That and the fact that he actually never stands with me.
Oh, yeah, he's always trying to be under the girls to look up their
Uh,
skirts.
yeah, the fact that in Shiva we have Eshor mechanic, which is stand under her dress.
I mean, it
uh,
works.
True.
Uh, Speaking of Shiva, we've been progressing it for a little bit now.
Yeah, we
More
have,
than none at all, but close to none at all.
especially this week. Yep.
Oh, this week has been a little bit sad. No, no more games.
No more games. Yeah, pretty
But
much.
I don't know. I like it's been people have been busy this week. It feels like it's been a super long week because we haven't had any days when we've gone in. Like that usually breaks up my week.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting because it's gonna be going in at the end of the week to then maybe go back in at the beginning of the week.
Mate, I'm just
Don't
praying we
really know what
manage
the
to
plan
clear
is.
the fights.
Yeah. We'll be fine.
I know, but last time we went in for weekly clears, and when weekly clears become weekly wipes.
I mean, the only thing that's probably gonna let us down is my internet, but
Or my computer.
but you've got your laptop as your backup now.
Oh, when
I
I've been prepared.
I don't have backup internet.
Yeah, I know.
Oh god.
Imagine though, my computer crashes. I quickly sprint over and grab the laptop, and I turn it on, and then the internet goes out. I'm like, no. You know that
That's
there's going to be some kind of dodgy issue with it.
yeah.
Or I go in and my reprisal is on the wrong button, and I like hollowed ground or something, and like everyone looks at
Yeah.
me as I look at that tank buster, and I'm like, I don't have anything for this. Although,
Um,
hmm,
yeah.
like to be honest, I
I'm
just
sure.
put up a shield, and you put a shield on me, and yeah.
Yeah, if I can be bothered to, yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I reckon I can live almost anything in the current raid here with just Sheltron and the shield from you, except for
Yeah.
maybe that big tank buster,
What from Shiva?
double slap.
Doubles. Yeah.
I don't think Sheltron quite covers it.
Yeah. It was quite interesting when that first came out. Morphin popped a cooldown and then died.
And yeah, but then now I've got the ultimate strat of making that entire phase mine.
Yeah, pretty much. You don't have to tank swap once. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish we did. I love mechanics and like I love having to. Like I don't
Yeah,
like
but
teasing mechanics. It's why I try to avoid knockback prevention.
well, hmm, you could say that knockback prevention is cheesy mechanics, but it's in the game for a reason. It's there. Like
Yeah.
so like I don't know why you wouldn't use it. If they're giving you something like, for example, if you like, it's kind of different because you're like a paladin, but like being a caster, why wouldn't you like
Oh no,
stop getting pushed around. You
as a
keep
caster,
casting.
of course you use it. That's DPS
Of
game.
course,
As a paladin,
exactly.
it's funny to go wee across the
Yeah,
screen and
because
then dash back in.
you don't have casts anymore, especially with Freckles Cat being instant now.
Oh,
Like,
right. I kind of wish it was casted still.
I mean, it makes it kind of easier that it's not, but
Right.
it'd be interesting if it still was.
I mean,
Especially like in the third fight when you have to kite around the stupid ad. It'd be interesting if you had to cast, but and you can move and stuff. You'd have to time it more. You have to time it better.
we essentially used to have astrologian casts,
Yeah, fair.
so it wouldn't have been that bad. But no, I like the way it's instant now because it does make it so you instantly know if Requiescat Cat has gone off correctly. Because if you cast it
Hmm.
and you see it casting, you know that something's gone wrong with your mana pool.
Pretty much, yeah.
But I don't know. I like when it's actually a cast, it feels more like different from a normal combo.
Fair.
I know it's range, so you could argue that, but I don't know.
Hmm.
I feel like, especially since Holy Spirit doesn't really hit that hard at all.
I actually have a question about your Requiescat Cat Paladin.
Yeah.
In the second fight,
hmm
Ifrit and Garuda, at Tornado Phase, do you have Requiescat Cat then? Or.
It depends on the rotation.
Okay.
If I land everything perfectly and I don't have to use it for uptime, probably, or maybe like sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, and sometimes I've just used it, and it really depends. Sometimes I do use it. Like I would say, it's when I say well, I don't need healing there anymore anyway because I just press hollowed. But sometimes I'd be like, oh, I don't need any healing.
Yeah.
It was when I would hit a Requiescat Cat and I would walk away, and it would mean every two GCDs of damage, I would throw out one heal.
Okay, yeah, okay. Sure. Cool.
Because it
Cool,
healed
cool,
me for
cool,
like
cool,
90k, and the thing
cool,
only
cool, cool.
does like 35k or something. So
Hmm.
it's not
I
even
mean,
a threat.
Morphin Warrior tells me don't heal me, I'm fine. Like,
Well, I think that's because there isn't actually that much like to use your cooldowns on in that fight. There's only like two tank busters in the final phase, I want to say. Like,
okay.
there is the one that is the reason why. Well, no, it's three, I think. There's the one which is the reason why the tanks don't take tethers or the tanks take the first tethers in that phase. And then there's the one at the end of the football. And then there's the one right before Enrage,
Okay, yeah.
I think. I
Uh,
don't quite
sounds
remember,
good.
but like, I'll remember it tonight when it comes out.
Yeah.
I know there's about three in the final phase, so it just means, and he takes like one of them, I
I
think.
think so. I
Or
can't
maybe
remember.
he doesn't. No, he doesn't take any of them.
Oh, okay.
Because I always provoke off of him. And then he gets the boss back for stuff,
Oh,
I
okay.
think. I forget. Either way, he doesn't take that many things, so he's got all of his cooldowns. I don't have any of my cooldowns, but I always have Hollowed.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
Hollowed is better than him home gunging the tornado anyway, so what we're doing right now works. It just all
Exactly.
sort
Well,
of lines
if it
up.
works,
Yeah.
then there you go.
And he gets to use his cooldowns for auto attacks and stuff. So it's actually
Exactly.
better for Warrior to use the cooldown for auto attacks because of the damage reflect.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, like, if they're casting the tank buster and you press it, you're getting less out of it than if something is just repeatedly hitting you. Although in that fight, I don't think there is that much time of just the boss slapping away at you.
Yeah, I've noticed that with quite a few fights recently. There's actually not that often attacks are coming. I don't know if that's true. I don't tank, obviously, but I feel like that's how it is.
Uh, the first fight, there's definitely quite a bit, but it's like because he's the first fight, he doesn't actually do that much.
Yeah.
Like I've noticed that like he'll do a mechanic and then he'll just sort of stand around for like 4 seconds, maybe hit twice, then cast something, then hit twice, then cast something. He's not like, I mean, he does have quite a lot of casts in a row, but he also has the entire phase when Chain Lightning's going on.
All right, yeah.
And
But like, I feel like I think it's the third. It's
oh,
like a mechanic. Oh, mechanic.
you're lagging a little bit.
Yeah, the game crashed for me.
Yeah. So essentially, the third fight only has like three times in the fight where I really feel auto attacks,
Okay.
and it is first portals. I think second portals, and the ad auto attacks me like all the time.
Oh yeah, of course.
So because the ad actually doesn't do any of its own casts besides the get in or get out.
Yeah.
Oh, and explosion, but like if you're seeing explosion, you know.
Are you?
I mean, we're seeing explosion, but we're not actually seeing the explosion most of
Yeah.
the time. But
I still remember when we first got there when we were having DPS issues.
I mean, again, I actually think that was more the same reason we are struggling with the final fight right now, and that is not DPS, but instead people aren't used to seeing certain types of mechanics, and therefore are paying more attention to the mechanic than doing their damage.
Okay.
Like, I think that people would get to the bit where it tells you that you have to face a certain way, and they would look at their character and they would not touch a single key on their keyboard, and they would move to the correct position and wait. Whereas, like, from week one, I've been moving into the way which allows me to keep hitting the boss, but also be pushed, and you know.
Yeah, I try to do that, but
I mean,
I don't
sometimes you
always.
can't for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but like I think that week one people were not doing it at all, and that's why we were struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's the same with all things though. Like the more time spent on a fight, the more comfortable people will get. Like at the moment, we don't like the final fight, and I don't think I will ever like the final fight because of how much debuffs and junk it throws at you.
Yeah.
But there'll come a time when the debuffs aren't even like in my mind.
Mhm. Skip light rampant or disband.
I mean, if you could, we would be looking into it.
Yeah.
But you know, there is since A11 there hasn't really been a no, since Phantom Train there hasn't really been mechanics that can be skipped by any weird method.
Yeah.
Phantom Train was the greatest one. You sent the warrior in, 2 GCDs later the warrior comes jumping back out and the ghosts are like, no, I'm not here anymore. You guys cleared. But I think that again was a little bit toxic for Party Finder. Because if your
Yeah.
warrior or your ninja or your red mage or whatever other classes could do it, were unable to do it, like as much as I'm sitting there and I'm like, it was really easy, you just had to like have the buttons up.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
still think it's like, you know, some people are scared to try it because it would be a guaranteed wipe if they failed.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think that skipping mechanics due to high DPS is really cool. And it's like how I really like the fact that on the final phase of the third boss, he can
Yeah.
be, he can interrupt his own cast with his enrage.
Yeah.
Like halfway through his cast, he's like, actually, I forgot. I'm supposed to be angry.
Yes, but sometimes it's like he'll like do like I don't know 2 of these like raid wides, and then it's a really long break, and you're like, oh, here comes the enrage, and then here comes another normal cast, and you're like, wait, what?
Entirely based on DPS during adverse.
Yeah.
It's to stop the Basically, there used to be long and short instance timers depending on auto attacks. Like, if the boss did a late auto attack before a cast, it would wait half of a second to do their next cast, and then the enrage would take another 10 seconds because of how much time you saved because of the auto attacks. So,
Oh,
if you got a long instance, you would clear easier, but if you got a really short instance where everything was tight, like you take the auto attack, the cast would come out, you take the auto attack, the cast would come out, it would mean that the instance would be like dead on like 11.5 minutes instead of closer to 12 minutes.
oh, okay.
And I remember Guardian being especially bad for that. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you would have a long like I reckon I've got enrages wipes on enrage to Guardian that were like maybe 17 seconds difference.
Oh, okay.
Because he would just be like, "Yeah, I'm going for a late auto attack into a tank buster," and it would be like, "Okay, well, that's an extra like second and a half."
Because I'm pretty sure on the third fight, I've seen him do 2 casts and then enrage, and I've seen him do 4 casts and then enrage, and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, thanks for the free damage.
and the fight ends up being the same length regardless,
Yeah.
and that's what they did to fix it, and I like it. However, it's just really funny when he's halfway through his own cast and he's like, "Wait a minute, I'm angry now,"
Mhm.
and then he starts
Yeah.
doing his enrage and it's like, "Oh no." Like, I like the fact that you bank time on how well you clear the ads.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that, I actually think that's a really cool mechanic that, even though it's not really an intentional thing, like it's not a like mechanic that you can actively like you don't go in there going, okay, we need to kill the ads on this cycle so that we get the extra 2 casts of thing. I like the idea of banking time by doing something,
Yeah.
but yeah, I like the concept of that fight, but I wish the boss was a little bit more interesting to look at because giant big floating birds is like,
Yeah, Coco Savage is not that interesting.
yeah. But the mechanics though are kind of cool, I suppose.
Yeah, gotta give it to that. The mechanics are pretty cool, yeah.
But it actually leads me to a point that I was gonna save till like next week,
Okay.
and that is the difference in difficulty between fights. And like we spoke a little bit on it last week with Emma, the
Mm-hmm.
frustration versus the satisfaction. Like how we killed the third fight really easily after we found out about the like cheesy strat where you don't do the mechanics properly.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think everyone else that is currently doing it does it the same way
Yeah.
because if you're doing it properly, it's like real difficult.
Yep.
And once you learn the cheese strat, you will never go back.
Yeah, but go back. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it ends up feeling really unsatisfying to kill, but at the same time, uh, it's because of its low difficulty now that we have figured out this cheesy strat. But I feel like that fight, if it didn't have that strat, would be incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, it would be.
And I feel like it's intentionally lenient, that fight, and it's really weird because it doesn't. To me, it doesn't follow any of their theming that they have kind of set up previously. Like, I feel like, you know, when you get the color debuff on you around you, the big circle.
Uh-huh, of course.
I feel like that should apply magic vulnerability up, and you should only be able to have one in each square. So you would have to make a checkerboard pattern along the sides, kind of like
Okay.
in
Yeah, that
Titan.
makes sense. So, like, for example, on the tank and healers, tank might go into the inside one or something like that. So they're
Well, no,
pushed
no, no.
above.
Tank would take first the first square, then the melee would maybe take the second square, then the healer would take third square, and then the range would take fourth square. Because obviously it alternates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like
So
you could do the uh first line to the boss. You could go tank. You could go like healer, tank, tank, healer, and the second line would be like all DPS, or it could be the other way about.
yeah, you could do it in numerous different ways, but I,
Yeah.
I, I just really I feel like that fight has kind of existed to be cheese. Like, you're already supposed to fit 2 of the circle AoEs in 1 square.
Yeah,
And from videos I've seen more recently, you can stack all 8. Well, no, all
exactly.
4.
Well,
But,
4 of them, yeah.
yeah. As long as you're not getting clipped by the other color ones, which to me seems like, even though, like, it doesn't feel like that mechanic. Like, I feel like they looked at it and were kind of like, this mechanic's really hard. Let's try to make it easier, or possibility of it being easier.
Hmm.
But
Just I think all they had to do to make it harder, like, was, you know how once you see the color on one side, you know exactly you have to go back and forth each
yeah,
time or stay. I think it should be that every time it comes out, it's different, so you actually have to check every time. They can make it more random.
I mean, the way they would do that is just make the east side portals random.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. The issue with that is I feel like then clearing it becomes like way more hard. Like,
Mm,
I actually feel like it's, even if we didn't have the super cheesy strat, it would be overcomeable as it currently is. With completely random, I feel like I'd never actually be able to clear it.
okay, fair.
Like, I feel like its difficulty right now is okay, but the fact that it's so easily cheesable because of like, none of their things really work together. Like, the big circle AoEs being able to be stacked just seems really stupid to me. Like, why not
Okay.
just have a couple of stack markers then, so that you have to do it on one side, or I don't know,
Yeah. Oh no.
or have spread and then a stack, you know? Or maybe the final, you know how the final does it go? What happens after second pause?
Tank Buster. Well, Raid Wide Tank Buster Tornado Phase.
What, there isn't a second like vibe check there?
No.
No, and there isn't another two like another phase where you just have to get hit by the right color. So I would essentially have it be either another phase where there is a line stack marker, or I would put another 2 maybe 4 stacks. Like
Okay.
no, 2 stacks, and they are color based stacks, and they're always placed on the healers or something. And it's just like, you would have to then sprint and well, no, 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 not the healers, because one of the healers is both the healers are the same color.
Yeah. It has to be a tank and healer or something.
No, because all the tanks are the same colors as
Oh
the
yeah,
healers.
yeah. It has to be a
It'd
DPS.
have to be on a DPS, and then you'd have all the DPS stack up and the tanks and healers stack up, or
Yeah.
something. Like, and that would happen in the middle. Like, you'd sprint back in after the spread stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like there isn't, that phase kind of just ends, and then it's like, the boss looks at you and just goes, well, like, I ain't got nothing left. I'm going into tornado phase, and nothing happens there. Sort of. There's a
Yeah.
lot of damage, sort
Sort of.
of. Is there, like, there's a little bit of damage. I'm always scared about the raid wides and like the floor AoE there, because if someone like dies to actual damage there, like,
Mm,
I'd be
fair.
embarrassed for them a little bit. I'd be like, oh no, they died. So I always pop like all my mitigation on the tornado. I'm like, nah, don't kill anyone, Mr. Tornado.
It
But you know, it happens. Um,
does.
but yeah, I feel like there needs to be a spot in the game that is the like the middle ground, the rare air between frustration and satisfaction. And I feel like the fights this tier, other than maybe the second one, like maybe Rakpasta, he kind of feels that.
Hmm.
But the rest of the fights, to me, like, Ramu is essentially a glorified Simon Says game, and then about like 70% of the way through the fight, he decides he's bored and just decides to raid wide endlessly.
I mean, it doesn't do it for that long. You
two
don't.
whole minutes between the first raid wide and the inroads
So, I mean,
of a
fair, I
like
guess.
11-minute fight.
Hmm. I mean,
He spends more time casting raid wides in that fight than doing anything else.
that's true. I mean, there's a
Which,
lot of raid wides in that fight,
yeah.
but it's not just like just a normal raid wide. It's like sometimes you'll have to go grab a ball and stuff like that, which is alright.
Essentially, Simon says.
Yeah.
I really think he's interesting like the first time you do him until you clear him, and then it's literally like, okay, I'm the off tank, I need to pay attention to have 3 balls when he casts a Vecutor summon or whatever, and then I need to make sure that I'm not near the bird, but the bird lost like 17 seconds after the tank buster from the bird, and then oh, it's my time to do the thing. Have I pressed the button on the middle of my screen and not done anything else? Yep, okay, I'm gonna do that. And then oh, he's
Mhm.
casting like it is essentially just a are you paying attention?
Fair.
And there is never a moment in that fight where I'm like, ah, that movement felt really good. It's instead like, I wasn't paying attention, sorry. Like that fight's so boring. Kind of.
Okay. Fair.
He isn't. He like it's difficult because he isn't that boring.
I don't think he is. I think it's quite an alright like first fight. Like
I don't like him as much as Eden.
Eden was annoying.
Yeah, but Eden was more fun. I don't.
I think Ramu's much funner than Eden.
Oh, absolutely fucking not. Then he's not as fun as Chaos was back in the day,
Okay, I'll give you that one.
and he wasn't as he's essentially a little bit like Phantom Train, where like his mechanics are like, I'm the one tethered to the bloody ghost. I'm gonna go walk around for a minute. You spotlight people better be in the good spot near the boss, or I'm gonna be angry.
But instead of a ghost being tethered to you, it's a shitty bird.
No. I'm talking about the DPS when they are like doing DPS and
Oh,
they look at
yeah.
themselves and they go, oh, I need an orb, and then they look around and all they see is the desert. Like no balls, just desert, and they're like, well, um,
Guess I'll die.
guess I'll die. And like, it just feels a little bit underwhelming. Second fight's so cool. Like, there's like, I wouldn't mind being like, if that was the final fight of tier, I wouldn't mind being stuck on that.
Fair. It is actually very, really good fight. I like good and different.
Yeah, I love running around and doing Ifrit mechanics, and football phase is always like football phase is always like big panic, big think, and then absolute pog when you run into the right spot and like you're not hit, and then immediately following that on one of in Rock Pasta phase, he does a tank buster that I need to be aware of. And that's one of them sneaky tank busters, but it's not one of like, even though it is one of those are you paying attention mechanics, it's the like, if you're not paying attention the first time it comes out, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to quickly take a break. We'll be right back.
Okay, I will hold the show myself and move on to a different topic.
I'll try and be as quick as I can.
Take your time, my good friend. So, yeah, I'm going to take this time to thank everybody who has been watching over the past however many weeks. This is the 5th week, I believe. And you saw last week we did like a big bumper episode because we had cleared a raid and we wanted to celebrate a little bit. So we are looking for more ways to do like bumper episodes and like special things. So like if there's anything you want to see, message me or put it in the comments. You know, normal YouTube things. And yeah, the support we've been getting is crazy, and we want to keep working and getting things done that are that are nice for everyone. Um, we have more tier lists and stuff coming. We're gonna handle dungeons, raids, and all of that stuff. Maybe even classes. I'm not quite sure yet. I don't want to make anyone too upset. Like we all know that like for me, Black Mage is probably going to be on the bottom of that one. Don't be angry, please. But or maybe Scholar. Scholar's kind of bad, in my opinion. But yeah. Anyway, so if you got any ideas, like throw them at me aggressively, and I'll sort of get things done. The next one of our bumper episodes should be at around like 10 episodes maybe, or if we clear the Shiva before then. But I don't know, that one, like, I'm just gonna kind of make up random stuff and then go along with it. But yeah, it's kind of like we want to celebrate each little milestone because we're really enjoying what we do right now, and I
I
think
am
that.
back.
Oh, welcome back. So I was just telling the people that I'm really appreciative of them watching and giving so much support and occasional feedback, and
Yes.
basically saying that we want to do more like special episodes like the previous one, and it'll probably be when we kill Shiva and our 10th episode special and stuff, and
Agreed.
kind of just
Um,
like working towards that. But I'm not really sure what sort of stuff we should do besides the tier lists.
um, we'll come up with some ideas,
Of
or
course.
if anyone watching has any ideas that they want to see anything, just throw it in the comments. We'll have a
Or yeet
look.
it at me on Discord, because,
That
like,
that too.
I'll put my Discord in the description if you want. I
Whatever.
ain't scared. I'll put
Okay.
my front door address in there. But no,
uh,
I won't. But, like, all you have to do is ask, and you'll probably get it.
yeah. If there's any kind of content you want to see, just let us know, and we'll maybe think about bringing it to a video.
Exactly. But yeah, I wonder which will come first: Shiva Kill or 10th episode special. With this being the 5th episode.
So well, that's 5 weeks away.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't want to make any guesses there, do you?
I really don't.
I reckon if we have a few more weeks of raid days that are a little bit more
Productive.
active throughout the week.
Uh-huh.
Like if we go in for like 2 days of prog like every 2 weeks and 1 day of prog every week. Like if essentially we have mostly just 1 day of prog and then some 2, I reckon we'll kill it before then.
Well, we're progging it tomorrow, so
Well,
that's the plan anyway.
if Ramu dies,
Mate,
Gatekeeper Ramu over there with his 2 chests.
Removes the Faust.
He really is. Well, no, technically, Ifrit and Garuda. No, Ifrit is Garuda's Faust, and then Ifrit is Garuda and Ifrit's Faust, and then both of them together are Pasta's Faust.
Fair. But
Hey,
if you're saying that,
why do you get
means,
4 Fausts?
I mean, if you're saying that, you could say that the shitty birds is the Faust for a tornado.
The ads are no. The ads are just the Faust for Portals 2.
Yeah.
Like Portals 2 is the only thing in that fight that's even remotely scary. And now that
Yeah.
not even scary. And then the tornado phase comes, and you just look at it and you go, you really got to think about what it is that you do, because he just starts spinning, and you go to the right spots. And I reckon tornado phase literally existed for like week 1 prog. Like a lot of these parts would have been a lot harder when it wasn't just so obvious.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Like if you didn't know that all the I almost called them the white people. All of the people with the white debuff had to go to 1.
Uh-huh.
You would have maybe had people just like everywhere, and like things wouldn't have gone so well. And maybe there is another strat where it sort of works. Like I don't know. Does hollowed ground work on the boards? I pray
Uh,
to never find out.
let's hope we never have to find out.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, honestly, that fight is so weird. But
It is.
yeah.
Actually,
So
although it's really weird, I actually really enjoy every week going, oh, we're going into birds next. I
because
don't know why.
it's like taking a day off.
I mean, the only bit that I think about is second portals. Where do I have to start? Since I know where I have to start, that's it.
I mean, I'm
Like,
gonna be honest. I don't even think about that anymore. The only thing I think about on second portals is after the first hit, I go, "We need to go outside. Don't drop the puddle in my square, or I'll be angry."
yeah.
I I feel like there's so many more interesting things that they could have done with that phase, and like maybe if you get hit by the thing, you're not allowed to be in that square anymore, so you have to do front two squares, back two squares, and then like your dodgy middle diagonal dodge that you did.
Yeah, the one I do.
Maybe that would have been a part of the strat.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I, if it wasn't for the fact that I couldn't be bothered, like being like, oh, we should try this. I think it'd be really cool to see everyone do middle strat for
I mean,
portals.
to be honest with you, I could just follow you.
Fair.
Like that's how I would do it. The issue is I just don't want to wipe on birds. I hate it. So, I hate the concept of birds. And you remember the week before we went in, and I was like, I don't want to raid this guy. I don't want to be stuck on prog on birds.
No, birds is dead.
I know birds is dead, but I'm still scared of it. Birds can't hurt you. He's not real. Birds can't hurt you. He's not hard. Is probably a better statement.
It's just paper airplanes.
Mate, I'm still genuinely like I wake up in a cold sweat sometimes and I think, am I still stuck on that fight?
We weren't even stuck in it for that long.
No, we were there for like 3 weeks.
I think it was less than that.
I know, but it was three main sessions in there.
hmm
Four,
Like,
because we went in there and we couldn't get past ads. Then we got past ads a little bit. Then we got two second portals, and then we got past second portals and cleared.
yeah, that sounds right.
It's funny that we've actually spent more time in Remo.
Can we like not?
Like week one, me and you in Party Finder trying to clear that with people that couldn't do Chain Lightning. And then
Corona strat's best strat. At me if you think I'm wrong. Cause I'm not.
dude, call me on my mobile if you want to argue about it because it is objectively the best strat.
Sure, it is the best strat. Instead of shitty pass it around the range.
I mean, I will say that
Mhm.
having one player handle like let's say for example Escher and Emma, they could handle the entire mechanic just walking between like if I was a ranged DPS, I would have suggested if me and you would arrange DPS, I would have suggested we do it the other way.
I still would say no to you. Honestly, Corona's the best way to do that strat.
I mean, I absolutely agree, but at the same time, like
If
stopping
it was,
anyone else from thinking about it makes it.
I mean, fair. Like, kind of agree with you there. Like, if it means the less chance of other people messing up, then fair. But
Although I wouldn't have done it how they would have done it. I would have given it to healer range tank, and just left the melee to dance around the boss as they see fit.
yeah, fair.
I would have had one group maybe in the north and one group in like the west, leaving the east entirely free to DPS as melee. It's something I've been thinking about. I don't want to do it. I'd rather keep this strat we've currently got, but technically for less sketchy melee positional uptime, it's better. But at the same time, like just stand in the circle and don't die.
It's after 2 times you can take it again, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that means the minimum amount of people to do that fight ever is going to be 5. 5.
No. 6.
Because when I hold up, I think it could be 5 because you did it. Yeah, it might be 6 actually. Yeah, it makes sense for it to be 6, but I think you maybe could do it 5.
I mean, let's be honest. That is decently late into the fight, so it will probably go down with the amount of DPS. Like a
Uh,
full 8 people, in like 2 years' time, we'll be able to kill it before that phase even happens. Wait, no, but no, you're wrong though.
I'm wrong though.
The minimum amount of people is 8.
How? Oh, because the
Fury
spears.
14.
Freaking spears. Yeah, you're right.
Paladin can't even hollow ground it. Like, what's the
Oh,
point?
yeah, that's gonna be interesting actually. And like next expansion stuff like that. If you want to clear Ramu Savage, you need to take a full party with you.
I mean, it's the same with it's similar with Halicarnassus.
Oh yeah, because we tried to go in there with like 3 people, and that
Good
didn't
luck.
happen. If you
Yeah,
don't have the people on those squares, you're gonna die.
yeah. And that's kind like that fight kind of requires there's a few others as well, I think, but you know, I think the birds is gonna require a few people to do.
Yeah,
I
I think
think
it could be the same with the Effort and Gruda because of the tethers, and you can't take more than one.
all paladins all the time.
You can take, yeah, with Hologround you could do that, right?
Yeah.
But it comes out that often
8
though.
paladins is optimal raid team.
I mean, what? Kind of.
If tanks were doing decent DPS this expansion, it actually might be plausible, but they just aren't.
Yeah.
Like, the problem is the healers are basically out DPSing the tanks, so even if you can cheese it and basically never do a single mechanic, I don't think you can do enough damage with just tanks to clear it, even if you're all best in slot paladins.
Okay. Do you?
Um,
How do you feel about tanks? And this just randomly came to me. How
mhm.
do you feel in general with tanks having their? Because obviously every tank has different ways of doing it. All got their own self heals.
I like it because I feel like all tanks should be able to sustain themselves a little bit due to being out in the wild and stuff. Like, sure, I don't die, but like with enough time, the enemy will kill me, and it takes me longer to kill an enemy. However,
Mm-hmm.
as a paladin, my self heal is a cast.
Yeah.
Therefore, and I can use it for damage.
Okay.
Therefore, in most situations, your paladin is not getting any self healing, whereas all of the other classes are doing their rotation for self healing.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, I actually don't like clemency. Because I
I
feel
mean, I like it, but
except for like in cheese content, when you go back and like solo paladin because it's like that. But like actually in content, you, you don't want to do any healing, like you just said. Like
I mean, but
it's
that's just the toxic mindset of the game.
exactly like
I
if
want
like
to press clemency, but if I do that and we wipe at 0.1%, that's my fault.
yeah, like
If I
mm,
could put a single clemency into every single one of my Requiescat cat phases in order to help the healers, I would. But the problem is it going to be like viable? No, it's not even like it's barely viable for me to maintain anything
yeah.
because the healers have to look after me double. Although I will say the fact that I can block so much damage kind of
I mean that's true
off puts it a little bit,
because
but
every other tank just done 1 2 3 rotation gives them health.
yeah. I really I feel like clemency if you're not going to allow if clemency isn't going to buff your next holy spirit or something like that, or like I feel like clemency or clemency should maybe have a 1.2 increase to damage of your confetti, and your holy spirit should have a zero point 0.1 or something.
Okay.
So then when you heal, you're actually getting some of that damage back when you use confetti, or it would still be unoptimal probably, but it would lessen the like. Oh, instead of doing like maybe 30k on a crit there, I healed myself for 80k.
Yeah.
If they're not gonna do that, then maybe during my magic, maybe during a certain part of my rotation, I regen. Like maybe instead of having the dodgy gauge that we currently have, I said I really want to have a fight or flight gauge instead.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe have it that when you're within fight or flight, you're constantly got a like 300 potency regen on.
Yeah,
So
that'd be pretty cool.
so like essentially for like 25 seconds of every minute, you are regenning a good amount of health.
Yeah. And therefore you'd maybe want paladins to main tank.
Well, even if not, maybe you would have it that intervention can give like five. You spend 5 seconds of your fight or flight gauge to give the other tank a regen or something. So it would mean that there'd be more choice of like, oh, maybe this would be really good here because he's going to be taking constant damage because of a bleed, But I don't know. It feels like there's also a lot less this tier of like picking a random DPS and telling them that they're about to die. Like in the poison from Eden,
Yeah.
or the prey marker from Guardian. I know that you attempted to do Savage Guardian on your own yesterday.
Yeah.
Maybe if they had that kind of thing, like Paladin would feel a little bit better. Like you can cover someone and get that
The bleed.
the blade from Guardian.
Oh, okay.
It's how we used to do it when the summoner would get targeted, because he would get double ticked and die. Like the first tick would put him on 9k HP and he'd be like, guys, I'm going to die. So yeah, but yeah, so essentially I kind of want more reasons to use cover and intervention besides just using intervention on the tank whenever he takes a tank buster, and using cover whenever I feel like memeing. Also, put cover on a cooldown again. No one cares about it being a gauge bending
Yeah,
thing.
agreed.
Like, what's the point? What's the point?
What's the point?
There is no point. It's just bad.
Yeah.
Also, maybe make it make some abilities apply to the nearest target when you just click them.
Like for example, like Dragon Sight kind of thing.
Dragon Sight. I know that you can have nearest target, I think,
Yeah.
in macros and stuff, but like some abilities just make sense to do it like that.
Yeah.
And cover is definitely one of them, because the worst thing about cover is when you look and you see that the I don't know, the marker is on a DPS. You have to then like look at your party list, put your glasses on, and be like, I think it's on the dancer. You know?
Kinda, it was actually on the Machinist.
Yeah. So if they just like, it would mean that a lot more mechanics could be, oh, you have the thing, come and stand on me, I will press cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's a change that I would make, and essentially, I like the fact that Dragoon can put Dragon Sight in itself.
Uh-huh.
Like, that was a good change, but the issue is, like, why not just have it latch onto the nearest target, and if there is no nearest target, then have it go to yourself.
Exactly. I like the idea.
Yeah. But cover, to be honest, is the main one I see, and I demand in the future.
Let's say, for example, you wanted to do Dragon Sight onto like the Black Mage. Okay? Who's not your closest party member, who isn't going to want to walk towards you, and you're
I
not
mean,
going to
then you
want.
could have a macro for it.
I mean, that's fair.
Like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to target people. I'm just saying if you don't target anyone, it should just try to put it on
Right.
someone.
Okay. Yeah. Fair. Okay.
Like, you know how
Yeah.
many times someone has said, "Oh, I've got a," like, for example, when we did E1 with solo tank the other day, trying to click on Emma while trying to also click on my cover button when the laser was about to hit her was like the most stressful thing in the world, and like I didn't manage
Yeah.
to do it, and she got laser beam, and I was really sad.
Well,
It didn't
that's
kill her,
why
but yeah.
that's where you've got, for example, like to click on Emma and press cover is how they kind of expect Astral players to go. Click on the person, give them the card.
Yeah.
That's where it's easier
Well, I
to
mean,
make.
to be honest with you, with that, with like let's say for example, you were trying to give the card to Seth.
Mhm.
If we had it be that it give it to the nearest person, you could literally just get Seth to come and stand on you while you were in melee of the boss.
Yeah.
And it would just give him the card.
Exactly.
I don't know. Like you'd have different card drop-off points. Like you were a McDonald's drive-thru. It'd be really cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know about like Astro to me at the moment feels really weird anyway.
Yeah, it does.
Like I don't understand. Like the shielding is really good from it, and the
Mhm.
mitigation and like the healing tools that it has. Like it feels like Scholar is really in the bin right now.
Sadly.
That's actually something I was talking about before you were here. I think
Oh, okay.
one of the tier lists we could do is different classes, and I was like, oh, Black Mage will be at the bottom, ha ha. And then I went,
Oh, that's
wait, no, Scholar.
it's really, really sad.
I think Scholar is actually the worst class in the game right now.
Sadly, same.
Yeah, but either way, I think that some of those changes would help quality of life, and like I think that next patch they need to next expansion they need to start clearing up some of these gauges and getting rid of the ones that don't do anything,
Yeah, you mean like the Gunbreaker one?
or the Paladin one.
I mean, Paladin one, I feel like it's more useful than others.
Just put them on a cooldown like everyone else's cooldowns.
Yeah, fair. Like how they used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of
I
weird
mean,
there.
the only thing I want from the Paladin one is fight or flight as being a thing, because I think that it would allow for example, you might be able to optimize a rotation around getting more fight or flight windows that are shorter for just like applying your dot and stuff, which sure it wouldn't be as pleasant, but you know, it might be.
Yeah.
It'd be essentially like a buffing Higgen banner,
Okay, yeah, fair, okay.
but I just like the idea of Paladin using that gauge more as a like how the Scholar uses their gauge, where it
Okay, fair.
drains down, rather than it being I have 50 gauge, I can use one of my three abilities that uses gauge. None of them are DPS focused, and if I'm not tanking the boss, I kind of just look in and I go, I guess I'll give him an intervention. There's a raid word coming out.
That's an auto attack. Oh, intervention.
Yeah, mate, that's like. Oh, and you know the worst thing about it? I read it the other day, and it gives if you've got Sentinel on or
Yeah,
it gives half of it. And I looked at it, I just went, thanks. I looked at it, I was like, you shouldn't have given me like 15% more mitigation, or like 10% more mitigation. It's so minor,
yeah.
because if there's ever a period of time where you need that extra mitigation, I genuinely don't understand what's going on.
Exactly.
But I mean, you know, now that I know it exists, I might use it. I might pop my Rampart close to the start of the fight and give Morpen a chunky intervention for like 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Morpen will go, that war attack didn't do any damage.
Pretty much.
Oh, you know, or when the crippling blow comes out, we're like, that should have done more. The real question though, can I stack all of them to give him like a 40% cooldown?
God. What, how like Shake It Off works?
Yes, but like just to one person, and it's just mitigation. Like, can I give him a cooldown that's equal to more than vengeance? Because I think that's funny. Like, can we give him like for example, if we stack all cooldowns onto a tank buster, can we give him like 90% mitigation?
Probably.
Like, faint on the boss, you using your bubble, Kata using big wings, me using mega intervention, and him using all of his cooldowns with like a shield samba. Will he
Yeah.
take literally nothing without a shield? Like, you know, when crippling blow comes down and goes tink.
Crippling Blow comes out and it's like, I am an auto attack.
Mate, diamonds are unmineable. Just tink. Mate, you know when Ramu throws away his staff and uses a wooden pickaxe instead? But no, like, legitimately, I'm curious as to how mitigation actually stacks in that game, and whether we can create the ultimate in like anti-boss. The issue is like, the only time I would ever want to use it is if Morpin gets 2 of the tank busters in 7 against birds.
Yeah.
Just see if, like, because you can already live the second half if he has popped like everything.
Yeah.
If he has all of the cooldowns, can he take it and take less damage than he normally does? It's like,
No, it'd be funny if you have a Dark Knight, he pops living, but living doesn't pop.
Yeah, that's the feel bad man right there. You know, when you use your mitigation and it just doesn't do anything, and the white mage isn't even like is too embarrassed to even benediction you. They just sort of look at you like, but like that's the issue with Dark Knight though. You use Living Dead, but like at the same time you also want to use your Blackest Night. But then if the tank buster's coming, your healers are probably putting a shield on you anyway, unless they know that you're going to use Living.
Yeah, pretty much.
So there's a good chance that they just go tink. Like, I reckon me on Dark Knight with no cooldowns could probably live Crippling Blow with a shield from you, Kata, and myself.
Fair. Yeah, Blackest Night's freaking chunky.
Mate, on me it's like what? Like 35? Maybe a bit more.
I think it's just a little bit more. What's your health? 150?
160, I think. Ish.
It's like 25%.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be like 35 probably, something like that.
35 with a shield from Kata that's also like a 20%, and you giving me one of your big boy shields. I reckon that's like over half my health, and the tank buster hits, and I look at it.
See when the Astro Shield crits.
I don't even talk about it. It just makes me upset.
Ooh.
It makes me upset because Scholar's meant to be the one that puts shields on people, and Scholar at the moment, like, you know when they have to cast their shields? They have to cast their single target shield. If the next patch, I'm calling it now, Bard massive buff, Scholar massive buff, make them good, make Scholar great again, and then Scholar will be the greatest healer next patch, and then like no one will play it in our group, and we'll look at it and be like, yeah, like they'll nerf Summoner.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They'll nerf Summoner so that when Seth switches to Summoner, it's now a wet noodle class. They'll buff Bard through the roof, but we have a Machinist and a Dancer instead. And we don't ever have a Scholar besides me who doesn't want to play it. And they will buff it to hell and back. It will have instant cast shield, and they'll be able to spread again.
I'd look on Instacast.
Mate, could you imagine how powerful that'd be?
I know. Well, recitation, Instacast, look film.
I mean, I'm already using Swiftcast with my whatever it's called every time. Yeah, but could you imagine they would be almost as good as Astrologian?
Almost as good,
but they wouldn't be providing nearly as much. Mate, I can't wait for the Scholar buff next patch.
Can you imagine if like they buffed Change Stratagem where it was like for 30
seconds. This buff lasts for 30 seconds, and it's on a 2-minute cooldown. Can you imagine that?
You know, well, that'd be amazing. You know what they should buff along with it?
What?
Sinestry.
I never use
Sinestry should be a permanent effect. It should be like Dance Partner.
Oh, that would be so cool, actually. Not gonna lie. I'd love that.
I've been thinking about it for so long. That's one of the changes I'd make to Astrologian that would make Astrologian so
That'd
fun.
be amazing. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Imagine when you don't have to heal the tank on the auto attacks because every raid-wide healing is healing him up as well.
Yeah.
Like, just make every single heal you cast go a little bit to him.
Because, like, even where I should be using it, for example, like in the third fight, if you and Morgan have to share the tank buster, I don't use it.
You probably should.
I probably should, but I can't remember. Does the signal
Essential dignity, yeah.
Yeah, does that work off it?
I don't know.
Because like I don't do like you can go through all my casts, whatever. I don't cast Benefit 2 ever.
Well, I mean, technically, I wouldn't mind getting a single shield for that tank buster.
Oh no, that's different. That's aspected benefit, but like, just like Benefit 2 though, that doesn't get cast. Essential dignity, mate. That's where it's at. That potency can go up to like what's it, 1,100?
You know when you're supposed to be a caster who does healing magic, but you look at your cast and you say, "I see no healing here."
Yeah, like
you know when I cast more heals than you.
Yeah. See, honestly, see if I was to read him at bar and be like, I'm only gonna keep the abilities that I use. Benefit 2 would be the first thing to go.
Benefit 1 would be the first thing to go.
That's not fun. That is actually on my bar. but like, I have it on like an off bar. So just
you have it on Control Shift 87.
Yeah, like
you have to do gang signs with your fingers in order to press it.
Like, that's the only reason I have it on there. Like, you might get Stasha. You need Benefit 1.
I'm gonna be honest. I could probably tank Stasha without taking damage.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Imagine going into Stasha's Astro.
You make a very good point. So
imagine leveling Astro.
That's the life I live. A little bit. Sometimes. So I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's very late into the video, but what's the highlights of your past 7 days?
Of my past 7 days. Okay, so what's my past 7 days?
Since the last Monday Night Clears, which happened to have been like 4 days ago.
Yeah. Probably. I actually started college work.
Oh.
I actually started assignments. I'm proud of myself. They're not that bad. It's a pain in the butt. A lot of research, but it's not bad.
You ran about space and that, yeah?
Not yet. No, currently, like, I currently study electrical engineering.
Yeah.
You
sent me your math problem once, and I looked at it.
Yeah.
Good luck.
So you that math problem I sent you,
yeah.
I basically have to do a report on that.
Okay.
Which is not really that fun. Like I had to create my own national grid like diagram and stuff. And then I also need to do the one that I'm currently working on because it will take me that long and I just when done. It's like what do you call it? Motors and like the magnetizing force and stuff like that of a motor and that kind of thing. It's a lot more complicated.
That sounds pretty interesting, though.
It is really interesting. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. My motors and magnet class is actually the most boring one.
Oh no!
It's interesting. It's just so boring because you sit there for 2 hours learning about one thing, and you're just kind of like,
can we not?
Can we not though?
Can we don't?
Yeah, can we don't? And I have to do like this report on it, and I'm like, wait, what did I actually learn in class?
And then you Google frantically, and you're like trying to piece together the answers. I've been in school before.
It was like draw a diagram of said motor, explain the workings of it, and like why it's used and such, and I'm like, thank you, Google.
You know, and like, I've received a diagram and it's been drawn the exact same way by 30 children.
Yeah.
And they're all like, oh, I don't know, maybe we had a chat about it.
Oh yeah,
That used to be the big excuse.
no, like see my electrical safety report.
Yeah.
I did it the day I handed it in.
I used to do my homework in form class before the lesson.
But it was quite funny because like I walked into my electrical safety class and he's like, oh no, so I had the same lecturer like for a class before, and he was like, oh, you remember the electrical safety is due today, and I was like, wait, what? So like
you're like, yeah,
it was like,
of course, yeah.
So it was like that class, lunch, and then electrical safety. So I had that
like-
class, and then at lunch I was like, it's time to do this.
I'm gonna be honest.
I got it done and I passed it.
I'm gonna be honest. I used to write the I used to like let's say I had a math homework that was due in. I would do it in the previous like art class. I'd be like, yeah, it's math time. And the teacher would go, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, drawing.
Oh, that happened once. I was actually back in high school. It was like we had computing and then we had drama.
Yeah.
And everyone had forgotten to do the drama homework, so we did it in computing.
Mm-hmm.
And then our computing teacher messaged our drama teacher to be like, they did their homework in my class. We all got so much trouble.
Oh no,
It
you
was hilarious.
never get caught. You never do it as a big group. You just sneakily like
I didn't get in trouble. It was like those who she wrote down names that she knew like did it then, and I wasn't on the list because I was smart when I did it. I didn't do it in front of her.
Yeah,
really?
you've got to know about the book within book tuck technique.
Yeah, exactly.
I was a master of like sketchy work, but no, we had film class in the morning and before our last 2 lessons. And the morning I'd be like, oh, what homework I got today, and then I'd start doing it, and then like I'd literally plan out what classes I had to do the homework in and stuff. Like I did more work like figuring out how to not have to do my homework at home than actually doing the homework. The worst
what about
ones
yourself? What about your 7 weeks? What about your last 7? The last 7 days for you?
the best of my last 7. Editing together the last Monday Night Clears was pretty nice. Like I feel like it went like even though it was last minute and sketchy as hell, it felt really well put together. Like if you go back and look at I don't know if you have, but looking at some of the primal fights that I went in, like it was very obvious to me at least that I had a pretty fun time doing it, just running around. Although you can see that as we got to the later ones that I knew I couldn't like get very far, and I just sort of like mindlessly cast spells at it until I died. Like Suzaku, for example, if you go and look at Suzaku, the bird just attacked. Like there was no way I was getting to Lady.
Yeah.
Because of the ads.
Yeah, it's really, really sad.
Yeah. So and the thing is, it was like 2 in.
How many people do you need to do, Suzaku, because of the DDR?
The DDR doesn't actually do anything. The amount of spaces are based on the amount of people there.
Okay.
But no. It was the birds. I couldn't have tanked all 4 birds.
All 4 birds, yeah.
I probably could have if I was on Paladin, but like my gear was about to break and it was 2 in and I was tired.
Anyway.
So I got all attacked to death. It was fun. Then the D&D that I've been writing for our group. I've got a lot of information about it, and it's so good. And like, spoilers, the mechanics are harder than the birds on some of the fights. First fight you'll probably meme on and kill, and it'll be sad for me. But then like the final fight, like, good luck. Like he's essentially the moment I finish the final phase of the final fight, I'm sending out little info packets to people and being like, here's like what I need from you. And that's been a really interesting adventure for me, writing out 4 Final Fantasy bosses as D&D things, because figuring out like, okay, so at initiative 50 he will start casting this, so that at initiative 0 he will finish casting it.
Oh god.
Because obviously no one's going to get to initiative 50, and if they do, they deserve to die. and like stuff like that. Like figuring out the order in which things will happen and when they are allowed to happen that allows people to actually complete the mechanic feels really good.
Okay.
And I'm really looking forward to recording that and uploading it as well.
Okay.
Uh,
What's your plan for visualizing it?
I'm not quite sure. I don't know how to use Roll20, but I might try to learn.
Okay.
Or
I do my D&D group is we use on Steam Fantasy Grounds.
how much is it?
You can just get the demo for free.
You know when he
Um,
tells me it's free.
Yeah, I mean the actual game itself you have to pay for, but
Oh
like
no,
you'll just use the demo.
lads.
And we use D&D Beyond for our characters.
I mean, I was just gonna like I've got a form fillable
Oh, right.
PDF.
I know what you're about. Yeah, I use
I
that
got
sometimes.
hundreds. I got hundreds of them.
Oh, nice.
I got some that have little shield icons that have like walking speed, flying speed, and all that. Like it depends on what type of characters. I have a sheet that better suits them.
Okay.
Like, and I'm planning. I will make a hand-drawn one of everyone's character sheet, so I have it with me.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm
Because
gonna put the Blue Mage.
What's that?
The Blue Mage because that's in that PDF. Just so you know.
You're playing Blue Mage.
Yeah.
In the actual campaign, I'll allow it. In this one shot, I think that it wouldn't be able to be up to its fullest potential.
Yeah. Fair.
So I'm not allowing it for the one shot.
I'm not gonna play. It's okay.
I mean, you can.
No.
It'd be interesting. Like, I reckon it'd be a cool enough character for that, but you can do whatever you want. So yeah, that's happening soon. We've got a bunch of people interested. I don't know how the hell it's gonna work. Then earlier in the week, which will be uploaded at some point in the future, it was our 4-man tank expert roulette.
Oh my god! Yes, completely forgot about that.
It was hilarious. We like having 4 tanks for expert roulette just kind of works.
Yeah, they actually worked quite well. I mean, it took like what 20-something minutes,
Like 22
but
or something.
yeah, something like that. But it was actually really fun and went really well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Hugh died once or something.
Yeah, but that's because I pulled everything.
Yeah, which wasn't very smart.
And to be honest, if we had all had tank stance on during that time and we'd all focused different monsters and then started AoEing, I think it would have went a lot better.
Probably, yeah.
Like, I think there are ways to optimize it to actually get it done. And the burst in the final set where we killed 2 of the 3 summoning heads.
Yeah.
That was kind of mad. So that was really nice. And that's content with our friends. That'll be up at some point. I don't know what I'll call it, but I'll probably give it a really clickbait title, like "Can the 4 tanks take on the dreaded expert roulette" or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Can we clear with no healer? Question mark. You know, something clickbaity and fun. And then last night we discovered my new love, Chocobo racing.
Oh.
My Chocobo's level like 31.
Yeah. So, how long did we spend doing chocobo racing last night?
Maybe like an hour.
Yeah.
One of our friends asked us to do it, Alicia, who is a very lovely person and kind of a big fan of the show, sort of.
Tell us, yeah.
Here's to you, my friend. Yeah, they dragged us in there, and we were kind of like, oh, I've never been here before. And up until that point, I had never lost. And then he showed me what the difference between winning and losing really was.
Pretty much.
I beat him once, and then he just was like, okay, the kid gloves are off now.
Yeah.
And I got completely battered. And it was actually really fun. And, like, it's really weird how much, like, effort they've put into all of these side activities, like that and Verminion.
Oh, yeah.
And no one uses them.
I mean, see, so there's like a chocobo racing like update. It's like 5.3 chocobo racing. Like, think about it.
Yeah, but the problem is, how could they update it in a way that would...
To bug fixes. That's all it needs.
No, it needs a little bit more than that. I think
And explain how it actually works.
I actually think that it needs a little bit more handling. Like when you're driving, it should kind of be a little bit more go-karty, like Mario Kart, and then it would actually be the greatest thing in the game, and I would never leave. The problem
Yeah,
is, it's really hard to control.
it is quite hard to control. Like when you go to a chest, but no, you didn't.
No, but I'm talking just when you're driving around and you're just trying to like move over, and it's like you have to like spam the hell out of your like A button,
Yeah.
and it's not working, and like I don't know. I feel like it could use with maybe like the stamina management is fine, but like it feels very much like if you have a bunch of stamina, you kind of just win.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot that they could do that would make it more viable, and I think they could do it. I just don't think that they're willing to put the resources into something like that at the moment.
Yeah,
They're
it's not.
already putting the resources in places that they don't belong, like Blue Mage.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Blue Mage is fun, but it's like, why is it in the game?
Blue Mage is okay, but I feel like Blue Mage should have been more of a like you're going for like I don't think it should have been in the class section.
Okay.
I think it should have been like a side activity, kind of like the Bard music playing thing and like umbrellas. It should have been that you went and collected the abilities and like you could queue up for like Blue Mage specific things like the carnival and like doing the content like synced as Blue Mage. But I think that putting it on the same page as like Dragoon is a little bit how to say insulting. Like I look at it and I'm like, you're not a real class. Unless one day it is a real class, but I feel like it needs a lot. But I don't feel like they'll ever make it a real class, so it's just kind of like it's
It's
essentially the same as Chocobo Racing. Eventually it will probably die.
yeah. I mean, they're probably gonna bring out another one, like calling Beastmaster. It's probably gonna happen.
I mean they did say about Beastmaster like a couple of years ago, but well, I mean it means that people are gonna mainly go on that and like walk around with their favorite creature, and then what are minions?
True, pretty much.
I don't understand. Please explain, Square. But we'll find out about that in the like fan festival if it happens, when it happens. It you know,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I'm really I just I, I feel like considering we're already getting a little bit less content than we normally get, the very idea of those classes is a little bit like disappointing.
Yeah, agreed.
But at the same time, I know people like it, and it's an extra challenge in the game. And honestly, like I kind of like stuff like that. Like for example, how we go into old raids as two people or one person and try to clear them. But all of the stuff they add kind of feels like the Chloe book, where like it exists, you can do it,
You can surely go do it.
but like, and it gives new stuff, but do you want to every week? I haven't done a Chloe book in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, so I think it could be more than that for me.
The last time I did looked at my book, it told me it was dirty and old.
Get this
And that was-
dirty old thing away from me.
Yeah.
Actually, Chloe, when you give her an old book, she's like, "Ew, what is this? Get rid of it."
Yeah, and
don't
I
know
always
what
feel
this is.
bad, like, oh, like, I killed Ramoon, like, extreme for you, like, 6 times. Why are you not happy? Why don't you want to read about how, like, I two-shot him on my red mage?
Fun.
Like, I don't know. I feel like, I feel like what they're adding next patch is more interesting, but again, it feels like something that might end up becoming this piece of content that sits there and people occasionally do it, but it eventually stops existing.
What,
Like,
the
remember
Unreal?
back in remember back in Heaven's Ward where there were party finders up every week for like doing Chloe book,
Yeah.
and then now you don't see that as much or at all.
Right. Ever,
And
yeah.
I mean, partly because you can just solo all of the content that exists within there, and it's been optimized to all hell, and and the chance of free lines is so low that you never get anything that good out of it anyway.
Yeah.
But it exists. You can do it. It's extra content for the game, which is a good thing. And I think that's the same with all of this weird like side stuff. But I don't know. It's a little bit. I feel like there should be. Maybe you should be able to guarantee yourself free lines if you go in and do all of the like harder stuff synced.
Mm-mm.
Like if you went in and did a Tsukiyomi but synced, you get a like guaranteed spot on the thing, and you could like plan out your week around getting your guaranteed spots.
Yeah.
Like that would make it a little bit more viable to do because I don't know. It just feels like why would I go in and do it? Like why would I do that one when I can solo Titan in less than a minute? Okay, I know it's a minute 20, but you know.
I
Like,
know.
basically less than a minute.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that's kind of where I sit. Like, if you want people to do the old extremes and stuff, but like sync down,
Mm-hmm.
give them a reason to. Like, I'm pretty sure that something synced down, you do actually get like more mounts and stuff and more music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like you guarantee drops and stuff if you do things synced.
Oh,
Or
okay.
minimum item level, it might be that you guarantee drops.
Yeah, I suppose I think that could be a minimum item
Yeah,
level.
I forget. But is that true? Wait, is that true now?
I had no clue.
Like, if we went into Titania, minimum item level, could we go in there and get the mount and the stuff to guarantee drop?
I have no clue how it works.
Because that might actually be interesting. Either way, like, I don't want to do it anyway, really. But, like, could you imagine doing base Shadowbringer's damage? Oh, I mean, it ain't that much lower, but it's still, like, Amarok
Yeah.
levels of damage.
Damn. I remember when we were there when we progged Titania.
Me too. Remember Innocence when I had to draw the little diagram?
Yeah.
Because people were not in there, and I was like, look, this is how you do the laser beam bit.
Yeah.
I mean, those are kind of fun-ish. I don't
Yeah.
like the weird sword phase of... But then again, like, almost all of the mechanics from Innocence have been used elsewhere. The tornado borrows from him heavily.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe some of the stuff we've already seen is stuff that's going to be relevant in next patch. Like maybe the Titania water puddles will come back
Or
in Moogle King Savage.
maybe the bigger is better. We'll come back
What's bigger?
because bigger is better.
Oh, that's just where the ads become big and go Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did like that, but I think that's a Titania exclusive
Yeah, it will be.
for now. But I don't know. I still wonder why the tanks and healers went north.
Yeah, me too.
Oh god, imagine being a melee in that phase.
Right.
That's about it on time.
Let's say we're coming up to our time now.
So I'm gonna be one of those people now and say if you have made it this far in the video and you enjoyed it, consider throwing one of them likes on the video if you enjoyed it. It feels super scummy and I hate it, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it does allow us to reach a wider audience. And I will never say it any time except at the end of a video. Because I hate those YouTubers that start with, if you're really excited for today's video, you hit that like button with your face. Like, I'm never gonna be that person.
I did that.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I just try it here at the end. If you don't want to, it's fine. Like, I don't care that much.
Yeah.
But the idea of growing and allowing us to get more subscribers and stuff that enjoy the content maybe will bring us closer to some of our more crazy things. But anyway, this is where we're going to call it. So I'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.